Bill Paxton shined in roles in films such as Apollo 13, Aliens, Weird Science, Titanic, and Twister. He also gave a powerful performance in the HBO drama Big Love. For that role, he earned himself a Golden Globe nomination. Bill was a dedicated man who had 2 children with his wife, Louise Newberry, whom he married in 1987. Paxton and his family lived in Ojai, California in relative peace until 2017, when he revealed he was suffering from a damaged aortic heart valve that was likely the result of a bout with rheumatic fever he weathered as a child. In February of that year, he underwent open heart surgery at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in LA to repair the damaged valve and attempt to correct an aortic aneurysm that was putting his life in jeopardy. Sadly, his condition steadily declined over the next week and a half. On February 25th, Bill suffered a fatal stroke and died at 61. Join FactsVerse as we analyze this incredibly touchy situation. Fortunately, recent developments seem to indicate that Paxton's family can finally breathe easy. Bill's early life and film career. William Paxton was born May 17, 1955 in Fort Worth, Texas. Bill's father, John Lane Paxton, was a businessman, museum executive, lumber wholesaler, and later on in life, the occasional actor. Notably, after his son's acting career took off, John appeared alongside him in films such as Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy and Raimi's 1998 crime thriller A Simple Plan. When Bill was 8, he was in the crowd of onlookers as JFK was shot in Fort Worth. Moved by his personal connection to that national tragedy, Paxton eventually co-produced the 2013 film Parkland, which dealt with Kennedy's assassination. After graduating from Fort Worth's Arlington Heights High School, Bill enrolled at Richmond College in London. While studying there, he met a fellow Texan named Tom Huckabee. Bill and Tom shared a love for cinema and began making short films with their Super 8 camera. These were some very DIY movies, and one of Bill's favorite things to do to make them feel more authentic was designing and building all the sets by hand. After getting a feel for set design, Paxton moved to LA, where he began working with props. After experiencing a minor setback when he was rejected by a few film schools in Southern California, Bill switched his focus from directing to acting. A couple of his early roles were in 1983's Mortuary and 1984's Terminator. In 1985, he got a supporting role playing the older brother of the lead in Weird Science. The following year, he played Private William Hudson in James Cameron's Aliens. For that role, he earned himself the Saturn Award for Best Supporting Actor. In 1987, Paxton played a psychotic vampire named Severin in the neo-Western horror flick Near Dark. 3 years later, he made an appearance in Predator 2. In 1993, he played the character Morgan Earp in Tombstone. Joining forces with Cameron once again, Paxton next appeared in True Lies in 1994, followed by Titanic in 1997. He also played Fred Hayes in Ron Howard's Apollo 13. The last significant role Paxton played in the 90s was Hank in A Simple Plan. The 2000s and 2010s were good to Bill as well. Some of his most noteworthy films included U-571 and Vertical Limit, Frailty and Broken Lizard's Club Dread, and Nightcrawler. Paxton directed a handful of films as well. In addition to starring in it, Bill directed 2001's Frailty. 4 years later, he sat behind the camera for the production of The Greatest Game Ever Played. Bill was known for TV roles on Big Love and the History Channel's Hatfields and McCoys, and he also played a villain in ABC's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in 2014. His final film appearance was in the techno-thriller The Circle. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to FactsVerse if you haven't already. And stick around for more about Bill Paxton and his family. Paxton's family filed a wrongful death lawsuit. A year after his death, Paxton's family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the surgeon who performed his operations, a man named Ali Koinezad. In that lawsuit, they alleged Koinezad had used unconventional and high-risk methods that he lacked the experience to attempt. They further criticized him for not being present in the operating room when Bill started experiencing complications. Paxton's family has reached a partial settlement. While the previously mentioned lawsuit is set for trial in the LA Superior Court in September of 2022, Paxton's family reached a partial settlement with General Anesthesia Specialists Partnership, the medical group that oversaw aspects of Bill's surgical care. According to court documents submitted to the LA Superior Court on February 23, 2022, Attorneys for the medical group are seeking approval for an agreed-upon $1 million settlement between the company and Paxton's family. General Anesthesia Specialists Partnership is still denying any direct responsibility for the actor's death, but according to those court papers, their intention behind the settlement was to reach an agreement that would provide reasonable compensation to Paxton's family while avoiding having to go through lengthy and costly court proceedings. At the moment, the settlement has yet to be approved. It needs to undergo review by the court to ensure it was made in good faith. Another detail we recently learned from court filings is Paxton's family's claim that Cedars-Sinai misrepresented or concealed information pertaining to the risk of surgery and care that would be provided to Bill. They further insist the doctors who oversaw his care failed to adequately explain the treatment and procedures he needed. The family's attorney, Bruce Broylett, put out a statement not long after his death that stated Bill and his family had trusted the physicians and staff at the hospital, but instead Cedars-Sinai had betrayed that trust. The statement concluded by saying that the surgeon's actions directly resulted in Bill's tragic and preventable death. While $1 million is a lot of money to most people, no amount of money can bring back a deceased loved one. And if the medical professionals at Cedars-Sinai did act negligently, throwing money at the situation hardly seems like justice. Bill Paxton's net worth at the time of his death was estimated at somewhere near $25 million, so it's unlikely the family is taking these actions out of greed or need. They seem to truly believe Bill's death was preventable. Sadly, Bill Paxton wasn't the first, nor will he be the last celebrity to die presumably due to medical malpractice. Stars like Joan Rivers, John Ritter, and Freddie Prinze also had their lives cut short, allegedly because of the incompetence of their care providers. Bill Paxton's family might be able to breathe a bit easier with this recent victory, but their journey is far from over. We are eagerly waiting to see what happens in September when their wrongful death lawsuit goes to trial. Now it's time to hear from you. What was your favorite role from Bill Paxton? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to FactsVerse if you haven't already.